Quick message from our sponsor. Imagine if you could make your destination page match your messaging, eliminate leaks and distractions when sending someone from an ad or message, remove friction and make it easy to buy. Dream no more. Checkout Links is a simple but powerful app that lets you quickly create specialized bundles in a mini landing page that syncs directly with your Shopify checkout. Preload the shopping cart to reflect your order in that specialized bundle. You can automatically apply discounts so they don't have to manually type it in. And then you can also track individual link performance and so much more. You can find other creative ways to use them with your paid ads, customer support chats, holiday offers, new product launches, email and SMS campaigns, or even rewarding your VIP customers. Go to checkoutlinks.com/Matt to learn more and install the Shopify app. That's checkoutlinks.com/Matt. This is Brand Builders. We've been actively working in D2C land for years and are continuing to be in the trenches daily. I'm Matt Lady, one of the co-hosts. Each week I have an episode with Tom Brown and an episode with Richie Nishiko. Sometimes we'll have one together. We are here to share our unfiltered, candid, casual perspectives, insights, lessons, experiences on building a D2C brand. We text about this stuff all the time and are super nerds about all things e-commerce, and we just want to share this with you and hope you get something from it. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of Brand Builders. This one is with Tom and myself, and we're just going to jam through some recent topics, some conversations, some discussions we've seen online and been having with a few other people. And this first one up is about ad creative. And Tom, we saw this thread from Ash from Obvi, and we're like, oh, this is pretty cool. You retweeted it. Pretty sure I liked it and saved it to talk about it. Mm-hmm. What's your initial reaction of this thread and what this means?
Honestly, it's the simplicity of it, and I think that's kind of what I said in like my quote tweet of this. I definitely made the mistake of overcomplicating my creatives unnecessarily, particularly when I look at this thread and I look at the static images. They're all very, very basic, but they seem to work. And it's amazing how fast I forget the basics. It's, to be honest, like what that has just reminded me of.
Yeah, and it has this total spend on these, like $100,000 on this static image. There's another $60,000. The UGC TikTok ones are like $40,000 each. This other GIF, which is like a static image, but GIF with like text typing and some animations, not fancy but effective. That's $80,000 in spend. Those are significant amounts, and this was like their top 5 creatives from Q3. So I think I'm right there with you, and I'm thinking about this very similarly now to Stumptown. We're doing, we're not doing really a Black Friday offer. If we do we're still sticking with no sales, no discounts. If we do end up doing one, it would be like the mattress topper free gift with purchase. Yep. So it would be like same price, like mattresses are all the same, and we're just trying to get a little bit more conversion and a couple of emails collected, maybe, because we should be on Shopify by then, and we can start testing out, little stuff like that. And we'd be actually able to do free gift with purchase and have it show up on the site and add it to cart and do all that stuff and not have to call us to redeem your free gift, which I joke and jest about, but I still think, I told you before I didn't have much Stumptown stuff, but I'm just going to get right into it. I just remembered all this. I think that's one of the ways we stay Stumptown-ish. We stay small. We stay, hey, just call us. If you have a problem, we'll talk to you which mattress you want. This is a big decision. It's one that affects you every night. Mm-hmm. We have a couple employees in the retail store that are been around for years. They're experts on this stuff. Yeah. And so I think we were going over the wireframes and the sitemap and the beginnings of the Shopify site last week. And that's what made me think about this stuff. And we kind of, in the middle of it, realized, we need to have that call out. We need to have that call us. We're here to help. Yeah. Literally call us out and call us up. So I think that's going to be huge, and how we can stay small in this not overly expensive brand. Not really. It's not flash. We're not going to have the most best visual assets right away. We're not going to have. We don't have a big budget. We're doing 2023 planning this week. The goals aren't absurdly high, but that also means the budget isn't absurdly high. So all these things I've been talking about with you and worrying about and stressing out about, I probably can't do most of them anyway. Or I have to start doing them very small on my own to start. So I think this, like tying it all back in, this thread, going back to basics.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we have some assets that I could do something like this as is, or pay someone to help us get some assets, few $100, couple of that, like one-time purchase, $1,000, $2,000, take new photos, some videos and stuff, whatever. And then I have like a little mini asset library. I could just test these very basic images, GIFs. We don't even have a single UGC video. So I think that this is really cool to me and really neat to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny as you're talking. It's actually taken me back to when I launched, the little side brand that I've got in February 2021. A lot of what I was talking about last week with like Ezra strategies was stuff that I was kind of executing on that because I was doing the whole thing. I say in public. It was like behind a paywall. A small group of people kind of just follow me building this thing in real time. But all of it was like that. It was like, here's basic email templates, and to what we were talking about last week, like very much text based. All the ad creatives, actually looking back at it and thinking back on it, were very simple, like static images, or there was something that I created in Canva, and it was like the text might animate or like slide in or something like that. It was very basic, very rudimentary, but it worked phenomenally well. It really did. I mean, to be honest, like I didn't change that strategy for probably like 6 months until it actually got slightly more complex and established. And it was at that point where like, it was doing decent money where I was like, okay, now I'll invest in decent creative.
Yeah, man.
It is amazing how fast you forget it.
It's so amazing. We get stuck. So this is like our responsibility / just the side effect of engaging in a community like we do on D2C Twitter and these groups and being chronically online is that we're not interacting and seeing real people, real actual customers of our brands. We're just seeing everyone else, what everyone else's brand is doing, or what people's clients are doing, and they're like saying things to show, not necessarily just to show off, but they're only showing the 1% outliers that work and the case studies, and not the other 80% of clients that churned. This didn't work for them, and so it's so hyper dependent on your brand, the product, the price points, all that sort of stuff, and so. Man, this is all just like really good reminder. And this is why I like engaging in stuff like this and following people I do and doing all this stuff. And like this is like the one huge good reason. That's why I keep coming back. Right. It's just these simple reminders from people at times.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's funny. You're kind of making me like rethink my entire like Black Friday strategy in some ways of like just taking it back to basics, like really just taking it back to basics, like very simple creatives that are not trying to be too smart, too clever. Like, because you're right. Like I spend way too much time hanging out with other like business owners and marketers. I don't spend enough time actually talking to customers, and it's funny. I mean, I was going to ask you when you were talking about like literally getting people to pick up the phone and ring you. Do you know like roughly what the age demo is of Stumptown customers?
So, yes and no. It's partially skewed because for most of this year, the past agencies just haven't been targeting over 55 on ads for whatever reason. Like there's no data from GA or any the WooCommerce like analytics, which is even less than Shopify, surprisingly. There's no data or connection that states like, oh, people over 55 never buy from us, or their conversion rate's garbage. What my initial thinking is like, actually, the older you go, the higher the conversion rate, and people like to call and email, and they're local. Like, oh, and I've never seen so many people leave actual customer notes when they like order stuff. hey, I will be out of town. Can you deliver from this date and this date? Or can you bring it up the steps or leave at the door? Like they so many orders have this. It's not just it's not recency bias. Like I could go back and I've looked at all of them. I'm like, this is insane. So they really they view Stumptown as, because a lot of the customers have been so far Oregon and Washington. And so they've known about it the last 6-7 years, whatever. And so, man, it's the demo is generally higher, but if they are buying it's like buying for their kid, like that's gonna go to college, or it's a gift or a present or something for someone younger. But at the same time, the mattresses are cheap enough and affordable that younger folks are like, oh, yeah, I could use a new mattress. Or like, oh, I still have the one my parents gave me, took from my parents' house 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So it's kind of both. And I don't have a clear customer avatar profile yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, being in e-commerce, I have definitely shied away from picking up the phone. I mean, I've done it, don't get me wrong. And when we did do it, it was very effective. But the more we kind of grew, and this has kind of been across all brands and brands I've been consulting with, I mean, it's always been this step away from the phone. Everything becomes digital, text-based, email.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played around. I mean, Cart Loop, Live Recover, those kind of services where, it's SMS based. You plug it in, they will then text your customers and kind of do that support. I've never heard of anyone or seen anyone, and maybe I've just missed it, that is doing live telephone support for customers. Basically a Live Recover or a Cart Loop where they will pick up the phone and just ring your customers. I don't know if that exists.
Yeah, I don't know actually. I know there's plenty of those tools and services you mentioned. There's a couple outsourced customer service kind of. They help you by ticket or if this flat rate or whatever. Yeah, I've seen that, but not quite at the live call level or distinction. So
yeah, and I mean, obviously nothing to stop me hiring a VA to do that and just pick up the phone and proactively ring people. But yeah, I've never seen anyone really in the DTC space talking about it. We just pick up the phone to ring everybody who abandons. But again, I think we all steer so much into the younger demo. All the brands are very much geared toward millennials or Gen Z, and I think we all kind of stupidly ignore the plus 50s, where where all the money is. But for some reason, we do not talk to them.
Yeah, and we ourselves don't like talking on the phone and calling people and getting calls oh, do you guys want to schedule a hangout? Do you want to literally a Google Hangout or now do you want to schedule in-person hangouts? Oh, you can text me at this time. But we love talking into these microphones for everyone to hear. Yeah, that one-on-one intimate conversations, weird, but that's just a weird generational thing maybe. But I think with Stumptown it's unique because it was retail first, and we have that experience, that we have the staff members and the team, and we're mattresses. We can afford to take 10, 15, 20, up to 30 minutes probably for someone who calls. Yeah. The store probably not that busy all the time, especially for our specific mattresses in the store, which has other brands. And I'm sure if we were able to track it somehow, if we tracked the number of people who called and asked for help and purchased either on the phone or then finished the order online, I'm sure it's astronomically high.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure it is.
I think for something like Opti, where it's at scale and it's protein powder, I don't know if calling in is worth it, or for your brand where it's my understanding, which is similar-ish space and similar-ish sort of products. So yeah. Man, I just think it totally depends, and it's not I'm not trying to say everyone should pick up the phone and everyone should spend 30 minutes per call with the customer, because
no. I mean, have you ever read the book? I think it's Delivering Happiness. It was all about Zappos.
I have it. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read it. I mean, I read it probably a decade ago, but it was it was such like a fascinating insight. I mean, obviously, like that business was very different. You know, average order was like $150, $200, and there was repeat business. Zappos was selling shoes; people were coming back. But the whole principle was like, basically keep someone on the phone for as long as you possibly can. Like just talk until like there is nothing left to talk about. It doesn't even matter if you're not talking about shoes. Like just build a relationship with that customer, because like, you just get that emotional buy-in. And again, like they're never going to leave. If they love you, they trust the company. They know that like Sally just sat on like an hour phone call and got everything answered, and then she like unloaded because she's not actually talked to anybody in weeks. Like something like she's in love with you. Like she's gonna come back and buy shoes again and again and again from Zappos, from like that one phone call. It's it goes back to like what a lot of what we're looking at within Hutch, which is like how do we scale the unscalable? And it's almost looking at like that Zappos-esque model, but applying it to like a 3PL. It's like how do we get on the phone and basically just consult with you, help you like grow your brands, even if we don't get you as a client, because at some point you're gonna go away and mention this to someone else. Or
That's
you're
exactly yep. That's exactly what I was like gonna say, is that person who just called Sally, she's gonna tell her friends about it. She's gonna text her group chat, her mom group chat about it. She's gonna post it in this Facebook group or whatever, and that it's gonna spread. Or she's never gonna leave. Yeah. And with you guys, it's not an average order value of $150 $200.
No, it's not.
You're working with brands, and yeah, exactly. So that's per brand, so per partner you guys have. So there's definitely, I think you're onto something. Like I've been saying, you're onto something with that, and just trying to figure that out. Because, dude, even if we want to just literally thinking out loud in public right now, if you want to turn this into a live audit, free audit, where someone's gonna like come into Hutch, and we can just do this like every week or every other week, and just do that and be like, hey, here's your episode.
Wait, that's a pitch.
Like
if anybody's listening that wants that.
Yeah. And if you're not even working with Hutch, but like we've talked about that. We've shared about that before. This is fun. This is what we do. We're just going to talk about something else somewhat related and just share, but we can actually help someone specifically. Might be cool. So there's that. So I think just this initial thread, going back to it and wrapping up this, was like simplicity. Go back to the basics. Remember who your customer is, not what you're viewing in your echo chambers of other founder friends and freelancers and agencies trying to sell you stuff. And just really know and try to have a better filter of what you're consuming online. And there's almost no reason to try every new thing you see. And it seems like we get, this is great. This is cool. This is perfect. Like this is the answer I needed to change my business forever. And it's like very far and few in between when that actually happens. But this one is relatively like that for us, as we're kind of saying, in terms of simplicity. And I will have limited budget for the next year at least. So I can be able to do some of these text-based and GIF ads. So I think like this is really good. And he got pretty decent engagement, but didn't go viral like some of his stuff usually does. But because it was like so simple, I think that's kind of, I got more value from this one versus some of the other ones that do go more like
easily
wild. Yeah.
I would say his tweets, like this is probably the one I've got the most value out of, almost full stop, in all seriousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been ones like talking about revolving credit and all that sort of thing, and different ad techniques, but this I would say is actually the one that I am getting the most value out. I mean, you're right. Like it's proportionally, it's not got that much attention, which is fascinating. Like, because it's not so shiny and off the wall. It's just like tried and true. Here's what works.
Here's the last 90 days. Here's the top performers. And 3 of them are basic image ads. Well, 2 basic image, 1 GIF, 2 fancy UGC. And they're not even that fancy. Like
they're not even that fancy. Like literally you can build these in Canva in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So man, this is great. I'm glad we started with that one and talked about it. A quick reminder from our sponsor. Checkout Links allows you to create simple and effective short links that go straight to your checkout for your social media pages, paid ads, customer support tickets, direct messages, holiday-specific offers, brand new product launches, or even adding a QR code to your packaging or insert with a checkout link for easy reordering in just seconds. Once again, go to checkoutlinks.com to learn more and install that Shopify app. That's checkoutlinks.com/Matt. Any of the other ones you want to jump to next that you care about, or anything off of that conversation? Or do you want me to just pick the next one?
No, go on. You go for it.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure, but here's all the pressure. So, digitally native. Pulin?
Yeah, he changed his profile picture, which is confused the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, for a long time he was like this anonymous, just like letter, like DN, like it was a profile picture, and then so he tweeted literally like a couple hours ago, talking about the shift in what head of growth means to D2C brands. It's not just digital marketing as a core competency. The role will be rooted in merchandising brand going forward. And I think my initial reaction is probably some truth to that. Mm-hmm. 2, probably not at the scale that most bootstrap founders and brands are. I think we're still so relatively early in that literally being digitally native and learning what we determine as basic digital marketing skills and foundational stuff. But we time and time again, always run into these brands and businesses that are just like, oh, you don't have email automation set up yet? And you're already doing $1 million, $2 million? Like, so I think he's talking about higher level brands that are much bigger. Generally, when I think of Nate's tweets, it's from that perspective. Because that's his experience. That's what he's like from in that background. So it totally makes sense. Yeah. And so I think for us, or people like us, we're in that like not enterprise VC backed level. We're like 50, 20 million and under, versus he's like over that by far. So I think that's just an interesting way to like start this off, is kind of looking at it that way.
Yeah, and I think probably, again, the world that he plays in, I mean, I think we're starting to get to a point, I'm not going to say like maturity, but you know, some of the biggest and oldest brands now on Shopify are probably coming up on like 8, 9, 10 years old. Like they're reaching a very different point where they have built brand over the last decade. And like, you know, there's a certain level of awareness now where like, you know, maybe to a degree they're kind of tapped out on DTC, and they actually, like, to keep growing, need to go into retail. They need to go and do merchandising and actually grab some physical footprints. Yeah, I think they're playing a very different game at this point. I think so many of us expected DTC to just keep accelerating at the rate, and e-commerce particularly to just keep accelerating at the rate that we did in COVID, and it's not done that. It's pulled back. It's still growing. Don't be wrong. It's still trending the right way. But I think anyone really at that level, you know, that is doing 9 figures plus a year, you're starting to realize like you can't just play in the DTC arena anymore.
No,
I mean, you can say you can't. If you want to keep growing aggressively, I think you need to step sideways.
Yes, step sideways. The horizontal scaling people talk about with like ad accounts, but also your business, instead of just more ad spend on this one campaign or ad, you add another campaign, you add another audience. It's sort of similar to think about it. We add retail, we're adding wholesale, we're doing partnerships, we're going on Amazon. But it's not as simple as just making a new campaign and putting some budget in and launching it. That's another $5,000 to $5,000 bucks a day or a month. It's a whole effort. It's a whole like plan ahead. You have to have time and money and skill and experience to like do this stuff. So
yeah, I was just going to say, I forget who was talking about it, but it may have been even you and Richie on one of your podcasts. I'm kind of losing the plot at this point, I swear to God. But it was talking about like basically one of the marketers, a group like Bacardi, you know, where their marketing budget is in the billions every year, but they cannot track it. You know, it takes them like 6 months to build a campaign. Then it rolls out like everywhere. It's on billboards, it's on television, it's just freaking everywhere. You can't track that. You don't know the result of it. It's not like you turn around in 6 months and see like the uplift from the winter campaign. Like you just don't. You just take the budget, repeat, try to do your best effort, make sure that there's a level of awareness out there everywhere, and go again. Like it's such a different game.
so very different. So I think that's one like good thing to keep in mind when you're, even me, I almost got caught like, I don't think, or like, yeah, that's super smart. But then I'm like, am I operating $100 million brand? Nope. Will I be anytime soon? Probably not. So and that's okay. And so I think that's a good conversation and discussion, and like,
Yeah.
I like ideas came about from that, but I think it's just a different level and different game than
It is.
what we
I think
typically talk about and play.
Yeah, I think it's half of what so many of us kind of need to be aware of with Twitter. You know, it's so easy to just read this as gospel and be like, okay, if I'm ahead of growth, I can't focus on DTC anymore. I now have to go and be involved in merchandising and brand. Like, shit. Whereas, like, that's not the case. Like, if you're a bootstrap founder doing really, like, I would imagine less than 9 figures, like, you're doing just fine. Like, I don't think role is going to change that much over the next 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think this is maybe a very early prediction or statement. And I think over time, this will be more and more true. And we might see distribution come in earlier and earlier, depending on what industry and brand and product you have.
Yep.
Because for the last few years, last 5 or 6 years, it was just Shopify, dropship, Facebook ads, money printer, go. So like, but that's like not the case for as often anymore. So as you know, things are shifting, and after pandemic, which no one really planned for, and people want to go back out and like not be in their house all the time, and they want to go. Some people still always liked this whole time shopping in person and buying stuff from the.
I don't know who they are, but they still exist.
They still exist, but I haven't met any of them in quite some time. But I think you'll be able to figure out, and as more knowledge and more access and more entrepreneurship continues to grow, I think more of this free resources, free information, free help, kind of like what we're doing here, kind of like what other people are doing on their shows and videos and newsletters and whatnot. I think you'll start to see this shift over time, but I don't think it's as immediate or as soon.
No.
But Nate did say, I think we'll see a shift in what a head of growth does for D2C brands. Doesn't say, it doesn't have a time on it. Doesn't too specific. So, but it's just good to think about, good to talk about, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else on that one? You good?
No, I think that's good.
Okay. Let's, I touched on it with Richie a couple weeks ago, but Shop Cash, you had mentioned this before the episode. You saw this link. So for essentially, from my understanding, Shop Cash is trying to be, Shopify's trying to become more marketplace Amazon-like in the fact that it's establishing infrastructure across operations, financing, logistics. It's trying to do more of these things like Amazon Prime. Amazon has credit cards, these sort of things. So ShopPay, it's on top of the ShopPay app and infrastructure. And if you use ShopPay, you can get Shop Cash back 3% on rewards on purchases processed by ShopPay. And it's only redeemable in the Shop app at other brands. So that's my understanding of it. That's the basics. That's the overview. So you had some initial thoughts and curiosities on it.
I did, and I mean, I kind of got wind of this about 6 months ago, and I forget who it was. I feel like it was John over at Loop that I saw like talking about this. I'd be blind if I could exactly remember when, but I think they got like beta access to it through one of their clients, or they were starting to see it. And initially, I'm assuming like the geek in me kind of geeked out and thought, like, this is damn cool. Okay, it draws people into using ShopPay. And then, I mean, we were talking about it briefly just before we hopped on here, and I've definitely had like a good handful of customers the last few months I know that have reached out, when they've bought something through our store, they've used ShopPay unknowingly that they're using ShopPay, and they will complain to us after the fact of like, how did you get my credit card details? Like this is fraud. You're scamming me. And for us to then try and explain like, no, you opted into ShopPay on another store, you saved your card details, which means because we're also on Shopify, you can use it here. Like, I feel like as merchants, there's a lot of these kind of cases where we're having to kind of educate customers on what on earth ShopPay is. And it will get better over time. Of course it will. As more people become aware of what Shopify is and what ShopPay is. But I mean, I see it even in the forums now of, the Shopify forums of people complaining to Shopify that a store that's hosted on Shopify did not deliver the goods. And the customer feels like it's Shopify's problem. It's like, no, like that is just one of 1.2 million stores that are hosted on Shopify that didn't deliver your goods. Right. But like there's still this level of sort of misunderstanding, and like I totally get it from the consumer side. I live and die inside of Shopify. That is my world. Has been for damn near a decade. But for Joe average consumer that does not know what Shopify is, doesn't know really what ShopPay is, like they're just trying to use their credit card to check out. I think it's getting a little bit confusing. Again, me as being as deep in the trenches as I am, I love the Shop app. I think it's super convenient. It pulls everything into one place. Really, really handy. Really convenient. I'm a big fan. But am I average consumer? Like, I know I'm not. Like,
no,
I don't know anybody outside the Shopify ecosystem that uses that Shop app. Like,
they're the people still in the stores. We found them.
They are. Yeah. But like, I fear this whole like Shop Pay, credit, cash, whatever we're going to end up calling it is just going to almost like add another layer of confusion to customers.
I think so.
Yeah.
Especially like you're getting at, what you're saying is there's almost another level or two of awareness and education about what Shopify actually is at a foundational baseline level. And people who buy stuff online all the time that aren't behind the scenes working on the brands.
Yeah.
I know people who buy stuff online all the time. They don't know that it's a Shopify site, or they don't know how the tech actually works. And they're like, wow. I tell them something like literally the most basic thing I could tell them ever about ads or email or how a site works or cart abandonment, stuff like that. And they're just blown away and like, oh, that makes sense. I think I get that. That's crazy. I never knew that. So if we're still there for the very common online shopping consumer, and we are excluding ourselves from this, but the consumer, not the behind the scenes builders, I think we're still very far away. I think we can help spread that adoption and awareness and education and this buy-in to it. Maybe Shopify gives us credits or like gets us like in theory if we opt into this, or I don't know if we can opt in or out of it yet, but cool, our store and our brand is on the ShopPay network, and other stores are gonna other people are gonna buy after they buy from another Shopify store. So let's band together and like help each other out sort of thing. But it's kind of not there yet. So I think we're still, like you're getting at and saying, it's a little far away. It's not quite right. Yeah.
Yeah. And to that point, I mean, I would assume this is probably going to get rolled out to a select number of US based Shopify Plus stores before anybody else. It's the way this sort of stuff tends to go. I struggle to believe that many of them really would want to take up like digital real estate to promote Shopify Cash so that you go and spend it on another store potentially versus doing their own level of retention. I don't know. I'm struggling with that a bit. Like even at this level, I'm not sure I want to go like, we use Shopify and you can use Shopcash and then you can go and run to another Shopify store and use it there too. Like, I'm not sure I want to promote that as a merchant. Like, I want you to come back to my store.
Isn't that like the whole, like, I'm with you. I think that was the whole point of making Shopify, is to have your own independent store and not be part of the network marketplace effect. You can have your own unique brand and voice and own your customers and whatever, all that stuff. And so now they're going this other way, and we keep referencing the Harley interview with Nick and Moyes, like on their pod. So Harley keeps talking about these these mass 90% plus brands need this and solutions to help them grow. I don't know if Shopcash is one of them. I think ShopPay is, and the Shop app is not widely used and adopted. They have the numbers. Mm-hmm. You're wrong. I'm wrong often. But I just don't know if that's the right... I don't think we're quite there yet.
No, I don't.
And it's kind of like what we're saying is it's the opposite of what we want, actually, as brand owners. like they think that's a solution and it's helping us, but our competitors are gonna be on the Shop app and Shop Pay and get the Shop cash back. Oh, cool! I bought from Tom's brand, but then I'm gonna go over on this brand. I got a Stumptown mattress, but I'm actually gonna try a pillow from Purple, and then like, oh well, I like their pillows. I'm gonna get sheets and then a bed frame, and then I lose them when they buy a mattress in 4 years.
Mm. Yeah, like unless I own every
know.
brand in that category, I'm not sure I want to do that. Which is all very, very well if I'm a brand aggregator. Like, great, I own the entire sleep industry, and I've just spent $50 billion buying it up. But like, unless you're that, like, I don't want to promote another sleep company.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those like sounds cool in theory things.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's.
I almost wonder if like they would be better off building this for like the individual merchant as opposed to like trying to turn it into this marketplace. Yeah, almost like some kind of loyalty or retention app that is maybe like baked into your own individual store, but like just an app.
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. So almost like a cashback program for your own store.
But yeah,
so
like, let me deploy like a singular store level, not globally.
Yep. I think that makes more sense, and I think that's what services like Fondue are gonna do, like the cashback, where cool, instead of this 10%, 20% discount, get cash back, and you can get cash back at this store, or literally just a debit card and like cash, and that's not directly competing like the Shop Cash. It's a little different, right? It's my brand or cash. Use it wherever. Yeah. So I don't know. I get it from like the Shopify perspective, and in fact, it's kind of reminded me of a conversation that Moise and Harley had, which was Moise saying like when is Shopify going to put the prices up? And I think Harley in that interview, or something that came up in that interview, was talking about like the fact that they make more off of payments than they do off of actually like subscriptions. So like I get them wanting to drive more consumers to use ShopPay because like they are making bank off the back of it. Yeah. And in that regard, maybe then they don't have to put subscriptions to merchants up, or I don't know. Yeah.
But I'm not sure where to go.
No, I don't know either. Yeah, and they're talking about like kept reading more about Dan's thread here about the Shop Cash. It's Shopify's aggregating demand, and it's a win-win-win for Shopify merchants and customers. And I don't know. I don't know if I believe in that or feel that way right now. They want to make Shop App a shopping destination. I don't know. Like, I think Amazon now is a shopping destination. If you're an Amazon buyer, like, you buy most of your stuff on Amazon. You have Prime. Like, you have the subscription to get the free shipping, to get things quicker, whatever. You get better pricing sometimes. Like, with Prime, it's a few dollars cheaper, whatever. You get access to their like media library and all their shows and movies. So I just don't know as of this time. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I think I like how they're trying to like do stuff for the brands on the platform, but I don't know if that's that biggest lever that they can pull. Maybe this is 100-year lever, and we're only thinking 1 year and 10 years out at most.
That's very possible.
So like that's what I keep having to come back to. I'm trying to like selfishly for me, like my brand, my little store. They don't care about my one little store in particular. They care about all the little stores combined, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's funny, like you're just talking then. I think one of the first things that just went through my head was, I remember when PayPal, they used to pay you like £10 to £20 or $10 to $20 to like bring your friends over, when no one knew about PayPal.
Yeah.
Like, is this Shopify essentially trying to do the same thing?
They should
just dragging people kicking and screaming that don't know what Shopify is into the Shopify ecosystem to try and educate them. And like you say, maybe they're looking at this on like a 10, 20 year window, and I'm not.
Yeah.
I just want to like protect my brand and build my own real estate. Like, I don't want to share it.
Yeah, that's what they sold us on. and like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I own this. Like, I can make it the way I want. I set the prices. I choose the tools. The design, the copy, how it works, and the customer experience and service. So I don't know, man. I'm with you. I think it has potential, and it could be this long-term thing, but I don't think it's an immediate, like, 7 steps to set up your brand for Shopcash success. Like, I don't think we're there quite yet. So
No, although I guarantee that tweet thread is coming.
it's coming as soon as an actual announcement comes out. Or I've been in beta for 2 weeks, and this is a game changer. Like and retweet, and I'll send you the PDF.
One more time.
Clearly, it works. That's what gets all the engagement these days. I'm not going to play that game. That's okay. I'll take my slow and steady 1 or 2 followers at most a day, my small amount of engagement. That is this little community, and people I actually know, and I'm not trying to sell a bunch of stuff.
Nope.
And so I'm with you there. So I think that's good. I think that's it. Any last things you want to mention or say, or shout out, or remind people?
No, I mean, I kind of just, if we're rounding up here, I kind of just want to emphasize the fact again of, like, you know, if there is something you want us to kind of get into the weeds of, you know, whether it be brand, whether it be an app, whether it be functionality, like, genuinely do reach out. I would love to spend the time actually trying to dig into the weeds and just help somebody a little bit. So please, if you're listening and that's something you want to take us up on, like, don't be shy. You know, message one of us in one form or another. We'll pick it up. We'll do it.
Yes, 100% backing that. We mean it. We do not have thousands of listeners. Don't worry, you're not going to get lost in the swarm of this. Like, we're still very early. We're still very building this one by one. And so if you are listening and you get to the end and hear this, like, we genuinely think we would be able to help, or at least have a fun time and good conversation, provide thoughts around this stuff, and help one person. And then I'm sure there's people like you that have that question. I was often that kid in school, like, all right, 100%. I kind of don't get it, but if I don't get it, and I'm not an idiot most of the time, like, I'm sure other people don't get it. So I'm just going to, like, ask for everyone, right? Yeah. So be that person. You're not going to be an idiot. We don't even have to mention you by name. If you want to, cool. If you want to, great. Well, yeah, we'll shout you out. But just, we're here to help you as well. So, yeah, good call out, Tom. Thanks for the reminder. That goes on and on as long as we're doing this. This is not a one-time thing. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you on the next one. That's it for today. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. I love being able to do this and meet with people that are smart and enthusiastic and just want to share what they have to know about all things D2C. Every rating and review and episode you share with a friend means a ton to me as I continue to bootstrap this show as part of my small little media brand, High Key Geek. If you haven't checked out my other show, E-Commerce Uncovered, you should. It's a little more tactical and practical, and I've guest experts on to learn from freelancers, agency owners, in-house marketers, and founders, all in an effort to help you continue to bootstrap your D2C brand profitably. 2 episodes a week will have you staying up to date on the ever-changing industry and learning fundamental concepts and tactics for you to apply to your own brand. That's E-Commerce Uncovered on the High Key Geek YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple, or anywhere else you find your podcasts. Catch you next time.